Communication is the key to understanding each other. Welcome to the Compassionate Couch. My name is Majita Adiola, and with me today is Pastor Mashudu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And before we go any further, I'm holding two books that you have written. One is Unleashing the Marriage Potential, and the other is Thriving Through Trials. Would you want to share just a bit about the books?
Yes, the two books that you are having, they are part of the 6 books that I have written. And those two can be found in your local ABC. The books, mostly the two that you're having, one deals with relationships, particularly marriage. The other one is the latest book, which is Thriving Through Trials, dealing with challenges of life. We've just come out of COVID and many other challenges that we're experiencing, and how to deal with those challenges and to come out on the other side still in good shape instead of being trampled down by the circumstances and the challenges that you're having.
Okay, thank you so much. So I was going through the book, Unleashing the Marriage Potential, and I especially loved page 91. That's why I had to make it my opening statement.
Okay.
Communication is the key to understanding each other.
Indeed, indeed. If we realize that in our age and time, our relationships are more have to do with emotional connection between two people. And I will never know who you are, what your needs are, unless you tell them to me and unless I'm willing to listen. So communication is a key in building any relationships. Also a key in destroying relationships. And it is important for us to understand. I think if there is a subject matter that people need as a skill in every aspect of life, whether it is in relationships, whether it's in business, you need to be able to communicate and to communicate effectively.
Yes.
If you look into, for example, when I always say that when the traffic police stops me, they struggle to give me a ticket. Not because I'm willing to pay a bribe, no, but communication. I'll give you an example. If you are in South Africa, you know where I come from,
Yes.
on the N3 it's called a no-nonsense. They always trap you there and you have to pay a big fine.
Yes.
So this one day I was driving Saturday afternoon. I had done a program in an area called Pietermaritzburg. I was driving up to Newcastle.
Yes.
When they stopped me. And this guy comes up and he says, do you want to see how much you were driving, how fast? I said, no, I don't want to see. I've sinned against you. I've sinned against the government of KwaZulu-Natal. I've sinned against the government of South Africa. I am a sinner. I'm looking for mercy and grace. And then I started explaining to him what mercy is, pardon for the past, and grace, which has to do unmerited favor.
Yes.
The guy was enjoying the speech. And then suddenly he says to me, then he gets the tone. He says, Pastor, why are you speeding? Oh, he shouldn't have said that, because now I was ready to finish him off. I said to him, do you know the challenges we have in marriages in this country? Do you know how marriages are falling apart? So last night I came to Pietermaritzburg. I was trying to work on marriages until this afternoon. Now I'm rushing to Newcastle for another seminar of couples.
Yes.
To try to help them. And the man was so touched. Not only didn't he give me a ticket, he told me where the next speed trap was. He says, okay, Pastor, you're doing a good job for the nation. Just make sure 20 kilometers from here, slow down because there's another strap. That's communication.
Yes.
And I didn't lie. All I told him was the truth.
Yes.
But I put it in such a way, he felt good to let me go. And so if you look into our relationships, you look into workplace, if you have an art to communicate and to communicate effectively, you can get a promotion, you can get well in your relationship. My belief is that many relationships falter and fall apart because people just don't have the skill to communicate and to do so effectively.
So what are the basics? We need to understand what principles were you using when you were talking to the police officer?
Okay, so when you look into the word communication, comes from the Latin word communis. Communis means common ground, commonness.
Yes.
So I think communism comes from the same word. It has to do with commonness, with common ground. So, and you can't communicate with someone unless you found common ground.
Yes, that's true.
So let me give you an example. If you look into this book,
Okay.
and you have seen only the front of the book, which is two people like jumping.
Yes.
And I have seen only the back of the book with a lot of writing. We can argue until the cows come home to say, I know the book, it has got people jumping. You say you know the book, it has got a lot of writing.
Yes.
Because we don't have a common ground.
Yes.
Common ground is that what are we talking about? The front of the book or the back of the book? It's common ground. So most of the time, we fail because we talk past each other because we have not established what is common ground. So it is important that for communication to happen, find the common ground, and then you know that you're not going to be talking past each other. What are we talking about? Is it how the situation made you feel? Or is it the facts of the matter that happened? So one might be responding on how the thing makes them feel. Another one is looking into the facts of what actually happened.
Yes.
So let's find common ground. So key to effective communication is to establish common ground.
Okay.
And then from there, it becomes easier to communicate. Obviously, there are different levels of communication.
Yes.
Somebody says there are 5 levels of communication. The first one will be the cliche, which is where you meet someone and say, hi, how are you? You know, you don't even think about it. That's, you just say as the words comes to your mouth. And the next level is where you communicate facts. Is there's going to be rain tomorrow? Facts that you've read on the newspapers or that you heard from someone else.
Yes, there's going to be a cyclone. That is facts.
Exactly. But if you say hi to someone and they never respond, it ends there.
Yes, that's true.
In fact, even how they respond. So I can say hello and you say hi. And you're telling me with your hi that don't go further. So communication will end there. Or you can say, hello, how are you doing? You are opening up the door so that I can now share my facts and my thoughts further.
Yes.
And so after communication facts, the next level is your thoughts. So if somebody appreciates your facts, then you can now share my thoughts. My thought is like, I think you must do this. If you're having a headache, you can drink water. I'm sharing my thoughts. So I start by communicating hello, which you just talk with your mouth. Then I share the facts that I've had before from newspapers or whatever.
Yes.
Now I'm becoming more personal.
Yes.
Again, if you disregard my facts, he says, where did you get that? Which newspaper? Is that a newspaper? Is that a newspaper? So by so doing, they're actually saying to you, I'm not going to interested in anything further, because if you can't respect the facts I've gathered somewhere else, how will you respect my own thoughts?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're going to close me out. But if they appreciate your facts and say, oh, whoa, that's interesting, then you can start sharing your own thoughts. Now, if they appreciate your thoughts, you go deeper. Now you start sharing your feelings. Now, feelings have zero intelligence. Feelings and emotions have no intelligence. So nobody benefits really by knowing your feelings.
Yes, true.
What actually, the only person who is interested in your feelings is one whom you have established a relationship already. So that's why you don't get into a taxi full of people and say, I'm depressed. Nobody cares. So you start by establishing that relationship. They trust my facts, they trust my thoughts, and we have established a relationship. Now I can share my feelings, because feelings are your unintelligent part of self. And you cannot expose yourself like that unless you know somebody cares. In fact, this level of feelings, this is where relationships are built, friendship are built or broken. Because what is a friend? It's someone who cares about me, even if I don't make sense. Even if I'm crying for no reason, this person cries with me. Even if my joke is not so good, she still laughs. because it's a friend.
Exactly. Yes.
It's a friend. So this is where relationships are built on that level.
Yes.
Now, if you want to know whom you are very strong with at this level,
Yes.
you ask yourself two questions. When something really good has happened, who is the
Yes.
first person you're going to call? Something really bad has happened, who is going to first going to call? Something really funny that has happened, who is going to be first? This is the person you're connected with at that level.
Yes.
And then after the issue of feelings, then you get to gut level sharing, which we call intimacy. This is particularly in terms of relationship and marriage. This is where you become naked. Emotionally, if you are abused as a child, if something has happened to you, you are free. You are in a safe environment.
Yes.
For you to be able to express yourself and share. If you're looking at it from the marriage point of view, this is where you find Genesis 2:25, where the Bible says they were both naked and not ashamed.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it is a level of sharing where you are transparent, you're vulnerable to the other person, and you know that the person will not use what you have said against you, but the person will dare to support you and to care about you. So that's the deepest level of connection that you can have with anyone. So communication starts there from the cliche, the outside layer, and it goes deeper and deeper.
Yes.
And most people, you can always ask yourself, you can always say, where am I with this relationship with a friend? You can say, oh, maybe they end up on facts, or maybe they end up on thoughts or on feelings. But that's the levels of communication that you have with other people.
I've just been listening to your levels and your explanations on communication, right? So my question then comes, how do you know who to give a certain level of communication? At times, there are some people who overshare information. How do you know that at this particular time, this person deserves to go further into this, the thoughts level? Sometimes you have people pleasers who don't even see that this person has reacted this way and they don't want me to take this relationship further, but they just keep pushing.
And it is very true. It's very true. And this journey does not just only go forward, it also go backwards.
Okay, yes.
So let's take an intimate relationship of even a husband and a wife. So I thought we were moving deeper past feelings right into intimacy, gut level sharing. And then when he's angry, he says, I'm not your father who abused you.
Oh, yes, that's true.
See now, so you are using that which is sensitive I shared with you against me. When that happened, you close them out from that level. If my feelings that I share, you says you're childish, grow up. You don't appreciate my feeling, I close you out. I'll only share thoughts. If my thoughts I share with you, you say they are stupid. What makes you to think like that? I will never share that with you. I'll close you out and give you to facts.
Yes.
And if you even challenge my facts, sometimes, when you look into facts, sometimes people depend on who is saying it. I can come here and say, the sky is blue. And you say, so what? And then professor comes up and he says, the sky is blue. And you say, wow.
Standing ovation.
Standing ovation for that. Depending on who you are. So if you don't respect what I give you, automatically you close them out. The system, we do it automatically. Yeah. So anyone whom I had overgiven, promoted him too quickly.
Yes.
When they show that they don't deserve, you close them out. What is said is that tonight there are couples who are sitting between the first and the second layer.
Yes.
They hi, how are you? And they are scared even to say the facts. because they're going to humiliate each other. So that's why somebody will come back tonight and says, hello, where's my food? It's in the oven. Okay, I'm going to sleep. Because they won't even go to say, there's a cyclone coming. Where do you get that from? Where do you learn that
It's
from?
clear that we have clear skies right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, don't come up with stupid thoughts. So you earn it, but you don't just earn it. You can also, there is a demerit system. If you have trusted you with this and you use it against me, you get demoted back.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how the system works. So in reality, we need to be very careful on moving people to the next level. One needs to be able to be thorough, that this person really cares about me. They really care about my ideas and whatever and so on. I mean, I don't know whether you've ever been to someone where you speak to someone and you say something and they say, wow, that's profound. And you're just talking the normal stuff. So I don't know whether it's real, but in any case, they are saying, in this territory,
yes,
you are powerful. I mean, the other day, I went to visit a friend at a workplace, and we started talking.
Yes.
You know, so I go into relationship, and I said something. He says, wait, let me write it down. So he's like trying to make me feel like every statement I make must be written down.
Yes.
But that's what happens. Those kind of people, they are there. And those are the people that you must promote.
yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. And the others, you must demote them. That you promote them by mistake.
You've promoted someone, right? You have, or actually you have demoted someone, right? But this someone, for example, is your husband, your sister, your brother, family member. You can't be living with hi, hey, hi, morning. Like, it's how then do you, from that point, you've seen that they do not have the effective methods of communication, resolve the conflicts that are already there, that have caused, because clearly there is some sort of conflict that is here. There are conflicting ideas and they cannot reach the common ground that we're talking about. How do you bring two people who have said, I want to be your husband, your wife, I am your sister? You cannot have a sister and not talk to your sister, because family is very important in our day-to-day. How then do you resolve those problems, communication problems? How then do you resolve the conflicts effectively within a family setup, within, even there are some friends that you know that maybe this person in these aspects, they're good.
Yeah.
They just don't know. They have never been taught. Like you're saying, you then get to know that, okay, fine, this person was abused as a child. If I demote this person just because they have done this, but they were never taught. I feel communication is a skill, right? It's a communication skill that you acquire. How do you teach someone to communicate with you effectively before you say, okay, fine, this person, before I demote them, let me give them grace, mercy.
I hear you, and
Yes.
I think it is not easy.
Yes.
But when there is a communication breakdown, communication is the only tool that you can use to break that deadlock that has happened in your relationship.
Yes.
So I think it is important that people should realize that sometimes communication, sometimes our conflicts have nothing to do with fundamental differences. It has to do with maybe our failure to communicate effectively.
Yes.
I just didn't know how to express myself in a particular way. So look at this. There is something that we say, play the ball, not the man. So instead of saying you are a bully, you are cruel, you are mean, I find your words to be hurtful.
Yes.
All right? So I'm actually saying the ball that hit me is the words. Because you see, immediately when I call you a bully and cruel and mean,
Yes.
the first thing you're going to do is to defend yourself. And when you defend yourself, you're going to counteract. What about you? And so on and so on.
Yes.
So in reality, but if you play the ball, I found your words to be mean, to be unkind. You can stop and look back at the words and see what the words say. Because you are not attacked. So there's no need to defend.
Yes.
So you can actually look at the ball and say, okay, I could have said this differently.
Yes.
You know, and those are some of the things that we use to break down the conflict, because often it's the ball, it's not the person. You know, and instead also of counteracting, I can just tell you how the situation makes me feel. I feel belittled when you raise your voice, when you talk to me. I'm not saying you are trying to scare me, you are this, whatever you are that I could call you. But I'm just saying that this is what it makes me feel. I'm not going to judge you, who you are, and what I think about you.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you the impact of in me. And if you think you are my friend, is that what you want to do to your friend? To make me feel humiliated, to make me feel belittled, to make me feel, somehow. So most of the time, we think it's easy to just attack a person. So let's say, for example, I'm talking to you and you're not responding. I can say, you are mean. You don't answer me when I talk to you. Or I can say, I feel frustrated when I speak to you and you don't respond. This is how I feel. I'm not going to judge about you being mean and so on. You know? So most of the time, people go on to think they judge the other person. You don't know. You don't know who the other person, and it's the reason why many of our conflicts are never resolved is because we have put people in boxes, and we've already placed them there and put them into that box, and we believe this is what they are. But there are many reasons why people could be saying things that they've said, and sometimes it's because of misunderstood. Sometimes even the mouth does not necessarily say what it intended. I'll give you an example. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where somebody said, you said it, the other one said, I never said it. And he said, no, you said it. If there was a tape recorder, I'll be playing it out. You said it. The other one said, I never said it. We've all found ourselves in that position, either on one side or on the other side.
Yes.
And people don't seem to realize is the complexity of communication. This is what happens. Do you know that when I'm talking to you, I don't listen to myself?
Yes.
I don't listen to myself because you see, listening, you pay attention to listen.
Yes.
But so I don't use the brain cell to listen to myself. Why? Because I'm the one talking. Why should I listen to myself? Because I know what I'm saying, right? So I use my brain for other things. So, but if I'm talking to you now and I'm not listening to you, but something happens, my attention gets worried to the camera person and I'm still talking to you. Now, my mind is disconnected to what I'm saying.
Yes.
So you're going to hear what I'm saying, but I never hear it because I was never listening to myself. So that's why you'll end up saying, you said it. I said, I never said it. So when somebody says I never said it, they mean I never meant to say it. Because the brain went on talking. The mouth went on talking while the brain is disconnected into other things. So you have called people liars. You are a liar. You said it just now. Now you're changing your statement. And all of us happen to us. And those are some of the issues that happens that brings conflict because we don't seem to fully understand what is happening within communication, the complexity of communication. Another thing that people don't seem to realize is that sometimes there is something happening within you where you don't have a word to explain it. So you say, what's wrong? You say it's nothing. Nothing is not nothing. It's a code word of something I don't know. I've never experienced before. So you say, no, you're lying. You don't say it's lying. There's something. You speak, particularly in the boyfriend, girlfriend, say it, but it says nothing. But because I'm feeling anxiety, concern, anger, worry, it's mixed up together. There's no English vocabulary, not even a Shona vocabulary to explain it.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that we fail to understand, and then we attack each other, not realizing that communication by its nature is complicated.
Okay. I am dumbfounded. I was still listening. I didn't know that.
So and still on the issue of complexity of communication.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example that sometimes people say the word today, a statement,
Yes.
but it means different at different times. The same person can use the same word. Let me give you an example. If somebody says, "I'm not feeling well,"
Yes.
it's a code word. It can mean a lot of things. It can mean, "I want to be taken to the doctor." It can mean, "I want to just lie down."
Mm-hmm.
It can mean, "I'm not cooking tonight." It can mean a whole lot of things, you know. So, give you an example of this guy. They're moving out of town, like driving out of the city, and the wife says, "I'm not feeling well," and he says, "Okay." She keeps quiet. They get home, and she says, "I'm going to sleep," and the man says, "So we're not eating today?" The wife says, "I told you to buy takeaways." Then he says, "When did you tell me to buy?" "No, I told you while we were still in town to buy takeaways." He said, when I said I'm not feeling well, what did you think I meant?"
Okay.
And indeed, when she says, "I'm not feeling well," there was what do you call that pizza thing? That you
The debonaise, the pizza in this
there was
side.
a pizza in and the chicken in thing.
Exactly.
He should have just looked the signs of times to know that today I'm not feeling well. It means buy some takeaways, you know. But tomorrow I'm not feeling well. It can mean rush me to emergency ward.
So did he go back to town?
I can't remember what happened to the story. I can't remember.
We need to know what happened.
Those are some of the challenges that are
Yes.
there, and when you add into the fact that women and men have got different ways of communicating,
Yes.
and that's why there's a guy called Gray somebody who wrote a book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Yes.
And John Gray. Now, you look into the challenges that sometimes people don't understand. Like when a woman has had a rough day at work, when she comes back home, she wants to talk about it. She wants to talk about everything that happened at work. I was at my workstation. When I was at my workstation, then I went to the photocopy machine. When I was in the photocopy machine, then they came and says I must take the file to the third floor. And she wants to go on and on and on. And the man, because you see, women are more, they speak to connect.
Exactly. Yes.
And men speak for logic. So
Exactly.
he's looking, what is the logic here? And he wants to solve things. He thinks maybe she wants help. And he says, "Why didn't you tell him that it's not part of your job?" Because he doesn't understand. Because that's why John Gray said men must go to Venus. Because women can talk for 3 hours. You people can talk for 3 hours without solving anything. But after 3 hours, you feel good, you are connected, you feel you've given it, you've connected with one another. But men are different. So when a man has got a rough day, he doesn't want to talk. He wants to shut down the door and close himself in. And a young lady came to me and says, "I wish he can come and put his head on my chest and tell me all that." I said, "He's a man. He's got a plan. He's going to sort them out tomorrow. Leave him alone." Because we do things differently.
Exactly.
And it is important to understand those differences and to give each other space within those differences. And for men to know that when a woman starts talking, she's saying, "I want to connect with you." So that means you must listen without interrupting, without solving things. Just do what women do. "Oh, really? Oh, don't say so." "Oh, yes."
Fill my cup.
So all of those things. And another thing that John Gray also points out is that Men and women are gifted. Women can do many things at the same time, multitasking. Yeah. I mean, a woman, they are perfect in this thing. She can be talking on the phone while she's cooking and, and then she's watching television and she's disciplining the children. Hey, and everything will go smooth. The television, the conversation, she'll know what's on television, the children will behave. But a man can only do one thing at a time. That's why every man, it's a trap. When a man is watching television and the wife says, watch the pot, I'm going to the bathroom, the pot bends. Because, but the interesting thing, John Gray tells a story about how he will do, the wife will call him at 4 o'clock to say, when you come back at 5 o'clock, come back with milk and bread and all of those things. But he comes back without them. And then the wife is worried. How I told you, I reminded you, what is so important to you? But she just doesn't know that a man can only do one thing at a time. And if a man chose to come back home, a woman must be grateful, because there are men who went to the shops on Wednesday and never came back home until Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
So if a man comes back home and he doesn't have the milk and the bread and everything else, hallelujah, Jesus. He chose the right thing. And all of those things. And lastly, men and women can say the same thing, but they mean something totally different. A woman can say, I have nothing to wear. They said there's a function tomorrow. The woman says nothing to wear, and the man says, I've got nothing to wear. But it doesn't mean the same thing.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, because when a man says, I've nothing to wear, it means I've got nothing clean or ironed. But when a woman says, I've got nothing to wear, it's a different story. And then, because the man does not understand, he goes and opens the wardrobe. What do you mean? The wardrobe can't close. What do you mean they've got nothing to wear? He doesn't understand. And because of failing to understand basic forms of communication,
Yes.
then you end up with conflicts.
Okay. I think we should end here.
I mean, we can talk for the next 2 days, but it is.
I'm assuming that you're from Venus.
I've spent too much time in Venus.
So do you have any parting words?
Okay. Well, let's conclude in this way. The Bible says, life and death are in your tongue.
Yes.
So the tongue can speak life. Yesterday I was talking to my son. He's 20 years old. He was stressed about something yesterday morning. And then I decided, let me talk to him. So I talked to him about this thing. In a few minutes, he says to me, I'm already feeling better. He says, how do you do that? I said, man, this is what parenting is all about, We get this from the parenting,
Yes.
academy, and whatever. But just the few words
Yes.
took away his stress and his worry.
Yes.
He was happy. He says, how did you do that? He's asking me because his feelings changed. So we can speak life, but also I can speak death. The most dangerous thing, the most powerful thing in building is the tongue. And at the same time, the most destructive thing is the tongue. I can say something that makes you to lose your confidence, to no longer want to run this show, because, somebody has destroyed your esteem and whatever and cut you down.
Yes.
Or I can tell you that you are the greatest host.
Should I take a pen
Who is that American woman who was Oprah? Oprah has nothing on you. And you can move out of here walking tall. So for those who are listening, speak life. Speak life to your friends. Speak life to your partners, to your children. Speak life to your parents. speak life and try not to speak death wherever you are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Compassionate Couch.